But I didn't want to say anything. I don't want to be that dad that's watching football. I'm like, get out of the way and all that. So I just kind of let them. And then they would get so excited. But I tell you, it makes me realize just how long it takes to learn how to like understand what's going on with football. Because the whole time, like, yes, and I'm just like, and then they'll like clap and applaud, and they'll be like, wait, what happened? Or they'll be like, yes, a touchdown. I'm like, well, that was a first down. That's church. They don't know what.
Hey, amen. What did he say?
What did he? We were all going along with it. We have no idea what happened. So, but you had the grandkids, they're chewing on dog toys. I had my kids with the throwing balloons in front of the thing, diving in front. It was the kind of thing where you like, you're watching the game and you go to sit down and you accidentally sat on a kid, because they're just jumping in between seats the whole time.
Oh, really?
Because, we had the cousins over. But you said, am I as excited about the Super Bowl as you are? And I don't know. I mean, it was... the Ravens were already out.
Yeah,
so
the Cowboys were out. So.
Now, why was Miss Debbie so excited about Mahomes winning
the whole
thing? I
don't know why she was pulling for Kansas City the way she was. I asked her that several times, and I don't ever remember what she said. I don't remember her really.
She's just really into Taylor Swift.
I don't know.
Miss
Maybe.
Debbie just
I
huge
doubt
into Taylor
it, but
Swift.
could be. I think she just wanted to see Mahomes win another one, and
My wife was she was like, I just want the 49ers because she was so mad at Travis Kelce having a bad attitude. She was like, I don't like Travis.
Wow.
I'm like, is it the Taylor Swift sickness? She's like, I don't even know about Taylor Swift.
Do you think Taylor is picking up on any of this? Any of this aggressiveness? Any of this uncontrollable anger?
I think she must love it. It's the age-old story, right? It's the whole like the most popular girl is dating like the most popular guy in high school. I don't think she cares. Or if she does, she's going to wait until after this.
6 months after they're married. He's just got this uncontrollable.
No, they're not going to get married. That's right. They're not going to get. That's exactly what's going to happen. Is the start of next football season? She's going to overshadow the whole season by just dropping like the Travis Kelce breakup album, whatever it is, and it's going to go. It'll be a diamond album, 10 times platinum, and she'll make another $1 billion. And Kelce, he'll realize. Maybe he'll realize the error of his ways. I don't know.
I don't know.
If that was any other player that went up to their coach like that.
Oh, yeah, it would be a fine.
Incredible.
It'd be all over the front page, NFL fines.
They just ignore it.
Kelce, $50,000, $200,000 for. It really was uncalled for.
It really was. Well, stuff like that is so interesting to me in the long term of sports journalism, because I'm sure you've read about like way back in the day, like just how bad a person like, say, Babe Ruth was.
Mm-hmm.
Just the licentious kind of lifestyle. Mm-hmm. But the journalists wouldn't cover it.
Oh, no,
On purpose, they would be like, no, we're only going to cover that this guy's an American hero. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They even did that up until the time of Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. Like the gambling and the womanizing and all that. They didn't talk about any of that. And then so many of those stories are coming out now.
Yeah.
But these days, they zero in. They just want to break everybody.
Nobody wants a hero today.
It's just a strange thing. But people do want, that's the thing. It's human nature,
They
Pastor.
destroy every one of them that they get.
That's the thing. They want a hero, and they build you up, and then they get bored of you, and then they just want to tear you apart.
Well,
Tear you down.
That's an interesting view. And
Is that
probably
wrong?
No. You're probably right about that.
Because Mahomes is the golden boy right now.
Yeah.
Right? 3 Super
It'll be
Bowls.
something wrong with him here pretty soon. You just wait.
Something is going to happen. They want to break him down. They did this to Tiger Woods,
Yeah.
But then that's the crazy thing. They want to break him down till he's nothing, and then they want him to be an underdog again. And everyone starts crying with joy when he wins the Masters, whatever that was.
I thought, what'd you think of the halftime show?
I have so many thoughts about that halftime show.
Really?
Yeah. Do you really want to know what I thought?
You
tell me what you tell me what you thought, and then I'll.
Well, it kind of started out. All I could think of was Michael Jackson.
I said to my son, because the first halftime show that I remember,
Yeah,
I was 5 years old. The Super Bowl was in Atlanta, and Michael Jackson comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the coolest person that's ever lived.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that. And here it is. It's more than 30 years later, and now my son is watching a Super Bowl. This will probably be the first one he remembers. And it's Usher doing all the Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He even has the one glove on.
Yeah. I never noticed that until somebody told me that at breakfast this morning. But I thought all of his dance moves at the very beginning, I thought, golly, man, he's just kind of mimicking Michael Jackson here, which was good, you know. It was, and Usher to me is one of the more sane, calm, decent,
Seems like
at
it,
least from what I've, the little bit that I've seen. Hey, how about the red piano?
That was really interesting.
We need one of those.
Is that what we need?
Yeah,
okay.
we need a red
Do
piano.
I have to put on the Alicia Keys outfit too?
No,
Okay,
please don't do that.
Thank you.
But I really do like, was that thing not wild?
That was something else. I guess that was real.
Yeah,
Joanna,
I would
figure
think
that
so.
out. Like the red piano,
The
was
red
that
piano,
a real piano?
Where you could buy one of
Did you
those
see that at
things?
the halftime show?
Real, like
Was it,
acoustic or electric or just like a prop?
was it a pro? I mean, like it looked like, it almost looked like a tongue or something.
Yeah,
like
it was. It
red.
had this platform, and it came out into this piano. It was really neat looking, I thought. Who has done anything creative with the piano since?
Yeah, they've been black or whatever. Sometimes
whenever.
they do stuff. But
since making one white,
but that was like
Liberace.
the way that it was like it was like liquid was flowing and it was molded in that way.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
interesting.
And Alicia's outfit matches the piano, and that was
Now,
really
I'm,
something.
I'm way beyond your age here, but at the very beginning, before the game even started, they were panning around and they caught, all these people, Beyonce, Jay-Z,
Jay-Z, yeah.
all these people today,
Right.
Justin Bieber, all of that.
Oh, he was there.
They panned around and caught a guy that I remember back from my youth.
right. And you don't even remember who it is.
On the stars. Mr. Las Vegas, what's his name?
Not Neil Diamond.
No,
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton. Wayne Newton. The big fig Newton. Man, 80 years
Yeah.
of age, and his skin is as smooth
Yeah.
as a baby's behind.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to have what he has just spent on cosmetic surgery.
I was just gonna say, yeah, they could have built another casino for what he spent on his face.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like 85 years old or something. So this is really, Joanna, did you figure out that piano thing yet?
Sadly, it's bringing up. I said it was Alicia Keys' red piano at the Super Bowl, real or fake, and I'm getting like articles about what makeup she was wearing.
Okay, Alicia. So well, I thought Alicia Keys doesn't wear makeup. I thought that was her whole thing. Okay, never mind. We got to talk about this because we got to have an existential discussion about that halftime show in general. Because I'm 38 years old, and Jared doesn't understand this yet. Jared, are you 30? You're not 30.
26.
Jared's only 26. He doesn't understand this yet. So for years, I've kind of watched Super Bowl halftime shows and kind of not known what was going on. I remember when I was younger, I think they had the Eagles or they had the Who, and then they had Prince.
And Hootie.
And they had Hootie. Okay, so
He's in
all
jail
these
right
guys.
now.
Oh no, is he
Yeah,
really?
they arrested him. No, they probably turned him loose.
Probably tax evasion or something like that. Anyway, I've been like, music is whatever. It's fine. It's whatever. But for the first time yesterday, I'm like, wait, is this what all of the boomer generation has been feeling during these halftime shows? Because that was instantly, and it was involuntary, but I was instantly reconnected with high school days.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, these are all the same songs and they're doing the same things. This is really weird. Is this what this is? So there it is. Now I'm part of the nostalgia crowd, I guess. I'm old enough.
Well, the only song that he sang that I even have heard was the last one that he
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, well, he should have opened with that one.
Well, maybe.
And the rest of the stuff, I have no clue what it was.
I saw some tweet about how those notes at the beginning of "Yeah" are secretly a CIA psyop to get all the millennials to suddenly stand up and start dancing, because it's involuntary, And my wife knew all of the lyrics to all the songs, and then she was bleeping out all the bad parts for our kids too. And
So, I know they can't hear me, but just quick talking point.
Okay, Joanna has a talking point.
So if you watch the commercials and everything,
Yeah.
I think it was fairly obvious the demographic that they thought they were going for.
What was the demographic they were going for?
I feel like it was like me and maybe
And down?
a little bit older and a little bit younger.
Okay.
Like most of the people that popped up in these commercials, Lily was like, "Who is that?"
Yeah, the Christopher
Yeah.
Walken commercial
Why is that funny?
with everyone doing that was
I
hilarious.
love that. That was the best one
Yeah.
to me of the night.
Here, right.
The rest
Your
were just
coffee.
kind of, eh.
Yeah.
You know, it
Well, no,
wasn't.
the Arnold Schwarzenegger one was great.
I didn't see that one.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And that was so funny. It's neighbor. That's what I said, neighbor.
I thought
loved it.
they didn't do it. They did it before the Super Bowl, and it was the one where somebody had defaced this home of a Jewish family, and I thought that was an incredibly good commercial.
Oh, I missed that one.
It really was. This little girl comes out and she's looking. Her mama comes out and they're going somewhere, and she says, "Mama, what is that?" And somebody had put a swastika and put
Oh,
"No
gosh.
Jews" or something like that in spray paint on the garage door. And there's a big old burly American guy that's working on his car over here, and she keeps asking the girl, and the mother says, come on, just don't look. Just get in the car, let's go. And he gets up and he walks over and he looks around. They drive off, and by the time they come back, the door has been painted.
He repainted it.
It was repainted.
That's
And
good.
she gets out of the car and she's looking at the door and she looks over and he's got white paint on his boots and on his,
Oh, wow, that
and
is
she
good.
just kind of mouths, "Thank you." And he just nods his head. I thought that was a great commercial.
Wow,
And it
that
talks
is
about
good.
how many acts of anti-Semitism had taken place in the country this year.
Hot topic / take
Okay, Jared's got a hot take.
all over social media right now.
Okay.
What did you think of the He Gets Us?
The He Gets Us commercials.
feet-washing
I don't
commercial?
understand why is this a controversy? People are
It's all
saying,
over- it's all over social
people are
media.
deciding that that's a bad thing.
It was beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful message. I thought it was beautifully done.
The
And
He
Kim's-
Gets Us
Kim
commercials.
was like, wow, they spent a lot of money on
They
that.
did spend a
I
lot
heard
of
they
money on it.
spent-
I don't
This
understand.
is TikTok, but I heard they spent 28 million on
Wow.
this
I
space.
guess I just don't understand why that's controversial. Like, why should Christians not spend money to get the message of the gospel out there?
Because what about all the people who were starving and all the people who
I don't know. That
Like,
sounds like
I
what
don't
Judas
think
said
it's
to
fellow Christians
Christ.
critiquing it. I think it's the people that are like, well, why aren't you spending it on this instead?
Well, Pastor, you're the one that personally bankrolled the whole thing. Tell everybody what you think.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. No, I'll just not have a comment.
You're not going to have a comment?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you know, it caught your attention, and we all got quiet, and we watched the thing, and it was extremely well done, and I didn't even think about the money issue, you know, that there are people starving, they could have given the money to that. My thoughts were a little beyond, you know, to me, let's talk about something else.
You don't want to touch it.
No,
That's
I
fine.
don't want to touch it.
That's fine. Let's not go there.
How about the couch potato commercials?
The couch potato commercials were truly excellent.
Those were the best commercials of the whole night.
The couch
Really?
potato,
I
that
never
second
could
one where
hear
there was
'em.
like, yeah, this is my grandfather couch.
Amazing. Yeah, those pictures that they, oh my goodness.
You know, the kids were making too much noise, and I saw them, I looked up and I would see it, and it was just going off, and I thought, gosh, I'd have liked to have seen that, but
Well, maybe we could catch them on YouTube later on.
they'll be on TV.
So anyway, Pat Mahomes, congratulations, little brother. 28 years old. Wow is right.
Hey, I'm not a prophet nor the son of a, but did I predict, close to predicting, he'd get an MVP out of this?
Yeah, well, he got the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
You know, Lamar Jackson, won the regular season MVP for the Baltimore Ravens, but who's counting? Anyway, yesterday, one of your big messages to start, and I apologize, I couldn't find a clear picture of this. I think that this is Pat Mahomes' wife standing in front of the trophies, but this is the trophy case at Pat Mahomes' house.
Look at this. Just
So you
look
get the
at these.
two, those are the two Lombardi trophies, which
Three
I want to
ESPYs.
know, are these like, that's not the real trophy. They didn't let him have, it's a replica, right?
Probably has them made just to showcase.
Just so he can show, hey, I won these Super Bowl. Because that's got to be at Arrowhead Stadium. I'm sure that's where those are. And then you get the MVPs. I don't know what all this other stuff. And then she's standing in front of a couple other things. I don't even know.
Get out the way.
Yeah, get out. I couldn't find a
Well,
clear
he
picture of
adds
it, I'm
another
sorry.
MVP to that.
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah,
Smaller replicas are made for each person on the winning team.
I figured that.
Is that right? So they do. Okay, they do that. Well, so my wife she was so excited for me that the Ravens had such a good year. So she bought Ravens shirts for all our kids. You know, I put that, I didn't even put it up here.
I thought you were going to say she got into the pool to buy Super Bowl tickets if Baltimore went.
Oh my gosh.
They were only,
We don't have-
$8,500 a piece
We do
or
not have
something?
that kind of money. I don't even know if I'd want to go. It's so much more fun to watch it at home and like see the kids'
Is that
balloons.
not the truth?
That's
You got
kinda how
your
I
own
feel.
bathroom right there. I can go in and get me a drink of water and it doesn't cost me a dime. I can sit in my recliner and
Right.
watch the whole thing right there, watch
Right.
the replays.
Right.
My wife always wants to go to a ball game, and I just, honey, listen, it's so much better right here.
Well, so here's where we're just chilling on the couch. This is us.
Yep.
So all of us with our Ravens gear. I just felt like this was kind of a defiant.
Listen, she's
sort of
growing
thing.
up so fast. I had
Yeah.
to stop. I thought, who is that?
Well, it's funny.
Boy, she is growing. So.
Well, because Hope now has more teeth than she does, because she's lost so many teeth. And Harper, anyway, and I didn't even know my wife had a Ravens shirt. She pulled that thing out, and then Hope, we had to put a blanket on her because she took her pants off. I don't know why she did, but she was having a really good Super Bowl party.
That age, they always do that. Dallas comes in,
Oh,
she
yeah.
takes shoes, socks,
All right, before we get into the message, which I guess we got to talk about the message at some point, but
just talk about the
whatever.
Bible.
But
so.
but you had this great aside where you were talking about butter, and you were so forceful about it. You were like, "Is there anything better than butter?" It was like you and me were having a conversation. Is there anything better than butter? I was like, "Well, I mean, bacon's probably better, And Rich Bartlesky is, and he's like, "Yeah." And then immediately, you're like, "Don't say bacon." It was like you heard me, and
No,
I know
I
you
didn't.
didn't hear me.
No.
Don't dare you say bacon. Butter is better than bacon. So
Just cook the butter.
I want to
bacon
just
and
now.
butter.
You say you love butter. Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't love?
Really?
But I've painstakingly prepared a quiz for you on the history of butter. Yeah, the history of butter. So here you go. We're gonna start with when the archaeologists. When is the earliest known use of butter? Remember, this is not a touch screen.
Okay, the earliest known use?
Yes.
I'm going to say 8,000 BC.
Yeah, and so I thought you were a young Earth guy. Yes, it is 8,000 BC. So far, 8,000 BC.
I am a young Earth guy.
Very good, very good. I thought that.
I pay no attention to that. Made up, nobody.
8,000 BC is correct. Which languages contributed to the use of the word butter?
I'm going to say French and Italian.
Now, so if you would have thought, now I'm disappointed in you because you should have thought about the age. Of course, it's Latin and Greek.
Well, okay.
French and Italian are 8,000 years
I'm
old.
running through my head, and I don't know the Greek word for butter.
I don't either. Is the word butter used in the New Testament? That's what I want to know.
But I do know the French word and the Italian, liber.
Sounds great. So let me see. Well, speaking of Italy, how was butter used in ancient Rome?
I bet it was used as a medical product.
Excellent.
They used a lot of stuff like that. Honey, vinegar. Vinegar was supposed to be the cure-all.
I'm paying in butter next time I go to like Walmart or something.
We're just gonna. Well, we got a question about that in a second. Let's just do like 2 or 3 more. These are quick ones. I love this with this question. Joanna, help me with this. Which book of the Bible does not mention butter? Does not mention butter. All of these mention butter except for one.
You are kidding.
All of them mention butter. You got to tell me which one does not mention butter.
And this is for Joe?
I would. What's that?
I thought you were asking Joe.
No, she helped me prepare this. I'm trying to give her flowers. She was the one that helped me prepare this.
I'm going to say Job.
Strangely, wrong. It's actually Exodus that doesn't mention butter.
Wow.
Which is fascinating to me because I figured that would be part of the
Sure.
sacrificial system, but I was wrong. Okay, now I got it.
That's just understood.
With
With the sacrifice.
That's just part of it. It's just part of it. You're going to love this one. How did butter contribute to the Protestant Reformation.
Where did you come up with this?
Joe found all this info, and then I painstakingly turned this into a quiz.
I bet it was B. I bet it was through the sale of indulgence.
You are exactly
Yeah.
right. I'll shake my own hand. Excellent work. Excellent
Not
work.
causing a shortage that led to riots. No, that's in my neighborhood
That's
right there.
No, you're really doing great. Yes, the sale of indulgence is related to its consumption. Let's see. Man, these are all right up your alley, and you're getting them all right. Okay, here you go. What significant event decreased butter consumption in America during the 20th century?
That's World War II.
Yeah, the Great Depression and World War II, obviously. And then, so the consumption of butter radically changed after that. So what is now the yearly consumption of butter in the U.S. per capita?
25 pounds. I'm going for the biggest one
You're
I can
going
find.
high. It's actually only 4 pounds.
Oh, what a tragedy.
But prior in the early 20th century, it was more than 10 pounds. So it's like butter consumption per capita has really gone down. And
Well,
then
this is butter consumption at our house, right?
you guys, it's just on everything.
Add all of these up and you'll have
We
close
do a lot more olive oil at our place. Here's the final one, and really this isn't about which ones. I'm going to tell you that the most expensive butter is ridiculous number 55, and I just want you to venture a guess as to just how expensive it is per pound.
Oh, my stars. I've never even heard of it.
I hadn't
Ridiculous
either.
number 55.
Yes, they made it
What country
from.
does that come from?
I think they make it in the U.S., but it has something to do with like a lobster extract, and they do these strange things to it. It is
Okay, well, I'm going to say $35.
$857 a pound.
Well, I think it's safe to say that ain't going to be in Debbie's kitchen.
I'm going to get you that for.
that.
Listen, I've got Jeff's credit card number. I'm getting you that for Christmas, and we're going to try it together here on the podcast. Great work, Pastor. As always, very impressed. Yes, a studio
Man, I
round
didn't
of
realize
applause.
how far off I was. I was $800 and some odd dollars off.
$857. Wow, lots of fun. Thank you, Joanna, for finding that info for us. Thank you, ChatGPT,
Wow,
for
you
turning
could,
it
you
into a
could go
quiz for
on
me.
Family Feud or what's one of those things where they ask Jeopardy.
Well, that's why you should have been. We played Family Feud and Jeopardy
are
at the
great
volunteer
questions, though.
banquets. You should have. Well,
Ridiculous number 55.
yeah. So you can only buy it in like these tiny increments. You can buy it as like a
bet.
pad of butter, but if you extrapolate it to a pound, it's really expensive. Okay, so you ready to talk about what we talked about yesterday?
I think.
Yesterday was a good day.
Yeah.
We've got every bit of 5 minutes left to talk about. We talked too much about the Super Bowl. Now so yesterday was interesting. Every Sunday is interesting to me. But one notable thing about yesterday is we had the Lord's table, and somehow, even with the Lord, we never do this, but we finished the service on time.
Yeah.
How did we do that?
Because I preach shorter.
How did you do that?
I don't know.
Me
I wrote
neither.
it. I wrote it. It was a shorter message, and I don't know why. I did leave out 8, 9, and 10, which I'm going to come back to, and it's probably going to be shorter this week too.
Really?
Don't get your hopes up.
This
I
has
see
nothing to do
you're
with
about
hoping.
to start weeping over there.
I'm not hoping. There's no hope.
I think I'm going to do 8, 9, and 10, which really kind of rounds out what's been said, but I'm going to go back through that.
Now, you are going to do that this week? You don't want to save that for Easter or something? Or you said you were going to save one of these for Easter.
No, I think I've got a different idea for Easter. I'll just be getting back from Egypt. I've got some ideas about that
Okay, we will
anyway.
talk about that. I don't like making you think too far into the future. Tomorrow will worry about itself, as Christ says.
Well, as I've said before, if I work on this passage this week, it is just hot and it is passionate and it is on my mind and burned into my soul, rather than me working on something 3 weeks ahead and I come back and I think, I'm trying to
was I talking
recapture what I was doing here.
that happens to me a lot of times. I try to plan like the Christmas music, and then I'll come back to
You
know,
do,
come
don't
back
you?
to- and then I'm like, wait, what?
Are you
was that?
serious? And it's
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
like,
serious.
it's kind of like, I know I had such a burning
Yeah.
passion, but I can't catch what that was.
Every now and again, though, and Joanne will hear me talking to myself in my office, but I'll be like, wow, thank you, past self. I'm so glad that I had that idea and wrote it down, Because a lot of times for me, I just need an idea. I just need to remember the idea, and I can act on it later. But you're talking about, I can tell that you just need that momentum as you write. You know, you get the burning in your bosom to write the right sermon.
Fire
I get you.
in my bones.
Man, there's so many things I wanted to cover here.
Yeah, you know, just the two parts. You know, where he deals in verse 1, 2, and 3 with really just the darkness of our sin, just the darkness of what our life was. And I don't think we really ever, even after we're saved, realize how dark life was without Christ.
Well, and you tried to make that a bit of an object lesson to the congregation. Like, do you guys think you were sinful as you could have been?
Yeah.
And some people, I think, well, yeah, I was about as sinful as I could have been. And you're like, doesn't matter where you were. You were still not as bad off as you could have been. Because even in this life, there's that common grace. Is that the right term? There's the grace of the Lord is still upon you.
Yeah. Well, it kind of dealt with this whole thing of total depravity. You can push that metaphor too far, and I think some people have. And I didn't want to get off into all that debate because ultimately that's not the issue of salvation. But were you as bad and as evil as you could be? Well, the fact of the matter is, no. I did stop short of killing some people. But you say, well, you hated them in your heart. Well, that's true, but there still is the physical aspect of taking somebody's life, whether I hate them in my heart or not. It's sin, yes. The bottom line is, it's sin, and I could not save myself.
Yeah, you have a sin nature.
Yeah.
You were not able to sin yourself. And you kind of, I thought you did a great job of this. You touched lightly on how there are different theological perspectives, like what do we actually inherit from Adam? Like, is it a guilt? You know, is it this?
Is it the inherited sin or inherited guilt? And you can argue that, and you know, depending on the day and how you feel when you get up, I might go this way, I might go that way.
The point is, you are sinful. Romans 3:23, all have sinned. You know, wherever it came from, you have sin in you. You have sinned in the past. Yes. So you have a sin nature. So what do you do about that? Well, you can't do anything about that. God had to do something for you.
That's right. Yeah.
And
well, that was the first three, and then 4, 5, 6 basically comes to say this is what God did, and this is why God did it. Yes. What God did was, by His grace, He raised us up and He seated us with Him, which is those two things are so good right there. He raised us up. We've been made spiritually alive.
We got to talk a little bit more about that.
And then, He seated us with Him. That's the way God sees us now.
That's one of the, now, and I love the way you covered that. My ears really pricked up when you started talking, because obviously we had this big funeral for Dick Quinn this past week. Right. And you can't do a funeral without addressing that tension of like, well, Dick's with the Lord, but death is still sad, right?
Yeah.
You said this at his funeral on Thursday. You talked about like how Dick didn't actually die. Mm-hmm. His body no longer has life left in it. Right. But he is with Christ. Right. And then the way that just, the light bulb went
raised up. He's been raised. His spirit was raised up immediately.
And that's what I don't think that I have ever fully processed before.
I'm so glad I could be your pastor and help you.
I am so grateful you're my pastor. I'm serious. I had never, like the fact that when you come to Christ, your eternity doesn't begin when you die. No. It begins when you're converted.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, you're never going to die. The real you, all of this is not really the real you.
Right.
But the real you, who is at the heart, your spirit, will never need to be raised. Well, it's already been raised up with Christ.
Well, but this still, now, I don't want to go too far with that, because this still will bear some resemblance to our renewed body.
Sure.
Right? This is still projecting some sort of identity.
We'll know that you are Kirkwood and not Tom Cruise. We will know that.
Yes.
It will be obvious.
Yeah, I'll be a foot taller than he is. But that's a good point. That's a good point. Like, and you mentioned that Paul calls this, this
jar of clay, pot of clay.
It's just it's a vessel marred for right now.
It's a vessel. Yeah.
And that's why,
but this is what we put so much attention on. Is this?
Right, and that's
know.
the sad thing. You know, Wayne Newton's over there trying to reconfigure his face all the time, when we should be working on who we are.
There is not a thing in the
Spirit.
world, wrong with looking the best you can look.
Sure,
You should.
sure.
But we put so much emphasis on this physical, and this is what's dying, and this is what's going to go in the grave. But the you that we spend so little time on
The eternal
is your
soul.
eternal spirit.
Yeah.
Is that going to live forever? That we just marginally ever even think of.
I think I was so grateful to hear that, and I believe it's the correct interpretation of what it means now that we're seated with Christ in heavenly places. Because I have heard, and I know you joke about the Pentecostal thing, but I've heard a lot of, I would say, dangerous Pentecostal interpretation of that.
Yeah.
That it entitles us to these constant working of miracles, as opposed to really what it's promising us for eternity.
Right.
Who was the one that you referenced talking about seated with Christ in heavenly places, and it's like, what are we sitting on? We're sitting on
I can't
thrones.
remember who said that. I can't remember
It's
if
a
it was
great-
Stott. I can't remember if it was Sinclair Ferguson. I can't remember if it was, one of the others
It was
that I'm
so-
reading.
that was
but
so
it
good,
was
though.
a great statement. I'd never thought of that before. And then, hey,
Yeah.
little Matthew
McGuffey.
McGuffey,
Yeah.
sit down here. His dad came and told me, he said, before you could answer it, he said thrones. That little boy is just as
He's
smart
sharp.
as he can be.
He is sharp, man. Well,
I thought that was so neat.
He's got two folks that really love the Lord. Brad and Julie
yeah,
are doing
yeah,
a great
yeah,
job with those kids. So so that was the main thing that I wanted to sit on, and maybe we could end with this bit of encouragement. You've referenced it before, but there in verse 7, in the ages
Yeah.
to come, He might show us.
Put on display. The word literally means to be displayed,
Yeah.
to show, to reveal the surpassing riches of His grace and kindness toward us in Christ. That we will be the trophies that
Right.
God will show off to the netherworld,
Yeah, God proclaiming His victory.
Yeah, yeah.
Not in boastfulness, because He can back it all up.
Yep.
And besides that, He's supposed to be the object of all worship anyway.
Yeah, yeah. But
yeah.
he will walk. And all I could think of was that hallway of gold at Graceland, where there's all these gold records, and then you get to the platinum records, and they're all there. And I just walked through, and I just thought to myself, all of us will be lined up there as God walks through and says, look, my grace in Mac's life, my grace in Kirkwood's life.
That's the
know.
real Graceland.
You just kind of go through that. That's exact. Oh, what a great, I should have thought of that. That's the real Graceland. That's right. Well, that's pretty good.
Isn't
Kirkwood.
it so interesting how, like, all of these, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but all of these houses of worship that we build, Graceland included, it always has a reflection of what is already existing in heaven.
Yeah.
That God has already prepared. We talked
That's
about
platonic thought right there.
Well, that's what we talked about when you were preaching the tabernacle.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, God is revealing this to Moses. Well, yeah, but it's because He's trying to show Moses what is already existent in
That's
eternity
exactly what He
past.
was doing with the tabernacle. Yes.
And even today, like the gold and the trophies and everything has significance. Like it doesn't matter whether that's for Christian worship, a false religion, or even for Elvis. Like all of that is trying to
Emulate.
thank you, to emulate what God has given us.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, the Lord has lavished His grace upon us, and He's lavishing
Amen.
some rain upon us
Well, I
right
know.
now.
We probably need to go find a boat somewhere.
And it's my phone says flood watch, so the rain falls on the just and the unjust, and we need to go. I'm hungry now. We talked so much about
You know
butter.
what?
We
That
gotta go
whole
get
lake
something.
behind our house was completely dry. They drained it because the dam, there was a wreck, and
Watch your
it
language.
was, and they had to repair the dam, and so they had drained most of it. It left, and it all just dried up in this heat. It looked like the moonscape. People were walking all the way across.
But it's
no
full
mud.
now?
No, it is overflowing.
That's incredible.
It is overflowing
Is
at this
Debbie
point.
Swan come back yet?
No, we think Coyote probably got it.
Man.
That was the only protection. That bird they trimmed the wings on it so it couldn't fly.
Oh yeah.
And so
The water
it was
was
just
the
being out in the
protection.
water was the protection. I am certain that a fox or a coyote
That's a
probably
shame.
got it.
Well, we need to get a new one out there for him.
Oh,
Well,
honey, she wants one badly.
this has been fun, and I'm glad we got to connect. We'll see you guys on Wednesday night, and also next Sunday. And pray for Pastor. He's heading to preach a men's conference.
Men's conference.
In Florida.
In Florida.
Down in Florida.
Jacksonville. At Redeemer Lutheran Church.
Is that? Oh, that's right. You told me about this.
Yeah.
So look at that. Look at this cross-denominational.
Yeah.
Cross-denominational ecumenical cooperation.
They could be bringing me in to secretly,
Try to convert you.
burn me at the stake.
I thought they were going to give you a third baptism. Okay. Love you guys. Say goodbye, Pastor.
Goodbye, Pastor.